Hello everybody, here we are today and we're going to be doing a video about things I consistently get wrong since I've done this channel. So before we start, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So this will be put out on Christmas Eve, so for everybody that celebrates Christmas, Merry Christmas. If not, obviously, whatever holiday you celebrate, have a good time. But anyway, yes, just kind of a video to throw out there as I'm doing this again in my car because it's pretty crazy with Christmas. I'm talking about things that I consistently get wrong since doing this channel. So I will say that I don't ever, especially in recent memory, try to put out a video where I feel like I am just going off opinion. I try to base something with some form of fact. So there are a few things that even with me doing some research and having some things to support me, I consistently seem to get it wrong. And we're going to be talking about some of those things in this video. And hopefully, if you enjoy my channel, you'll kind of find it funny and maybe say, oh yeah, you have seemed to struggle to pick what that team's going to be capable of. But if you hate me, and I know that there's a few people that don't seem to enjoy my videos, not a lot, but just a few, you're probably going to really enjoy this video. So let's get on into it. So the first thing is, I feel like I've seen this comment a couple times on a couple of videos on just different forms of social media. The Los Angeles Kings, for the past 3 years now, just cannot seem to give the Kings the respect they deserve. I don't know what it is. Actually, I do know exactly what it is. But, for me, a guy that looks at some of these stats and I look at 5-on-5 play and I look at just all these things where I should be just totally going on about how much I love the Kings and the fact that they all have good year 5-on-5 defensively. They might have a good PK thing. They might dominate puck possession, all that stuff. Where I should be going on in my season preview talking about, oh, they're a lock for the playoffs. I just never really seem to get to the point where I say they are a lock. They are going to be competing for the Pacific Division and they could make some noise in the playoffs. And it really comes down to me thinking about their goaltending. I feel like for a while now, the Kings have had a lot of the pieces right there to be a really good team, and they have been a pretty good team in recent memory, but they just have never had the goaltending that has me convinced to say, okay, well, if they have a good year defensively, they're just going to go out and do amazing things. Whereas I look at it and these goalies, man, they've got me really worried about what could happen if they have a bad start to the year, where it's almost like what we saw with the Carolina Hurricanes video where Carolina's had a really good year defensively in a lot of different categories, but their goalies have just been downright atrocious in a lot of cases. That's, I feel like, what my mindset is for the Kings. And going into the playoffs, assuming that they make it, which I'm going to give them the respect now, and going into the next season previews I do for next season, I'm just going to pencil them in as a playoff team unless something really drastic happens. Why I keep underselling this team, again, really comes down to that goaltending. But seeing what they've been able to do over the past 3 years, last year being the second best season for them in franchise history, I've decided I would rather look like a fool and say that they're going to do well than keep denying the team the respect they deserve. So the Kings probably been that number one team that I cannot consistently seem to pick right, even though I'm not saying they're going to be a terrible team. I do seem to say, they should be, 3 in the division, competing for a wild card. We're giving them the respect they deserve now. Kings fans, mark that down. Now, the second one is a lot more funny, but I feel like it bugs me a lot more, is the Philadelphia Flyers. Why are they like this? They have been a team that is consistently inconsistent since I was a kid, so I'm not going to take this so much to heart. But when the Flyers are supposed to be bad, I say they're going to be bad, and then they play well. Then when I say the Flyers should be good, they're going to be a team that makes the playoffs, they play bad. I think since this channel started, and we've covered 4 seasons or parts of 4 seasons, I've said something about the team in different categories multiple times, and I've only been right one season. This year, I said they were going to finish bottom of the division. I said them or Columbus should probably be that team. Right now, they are currently second in the division, and I know that second doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot because there are a lot of teams in the Metro right now that are within striking distance that could push each other down, but the fact that they are almost a playoff team at this point just blows my mind. The fact that they could be a lock for the playoffs. I said John Tortorella would be one of the first coaches fired this season, after how last season went and how I felt like the Flyers were in a spot where they're either going to have to retool or rebuild. Instead, we could talk about, Torts winning the Jack Adams as best coach of the year, which blows my mind again. I'm not as concerned because if you remember, for a period of 10 years, they would alternate every year where they would be in the playoffs and then miss back and forth, and they had some good teams those years. I'm not as annoyed by the fact that Philly seems dedicated to making me look wrong all the time. Just one of those deals where, let's say that they finished the year strong this year. I mean, should I say they're going to be good going into next season, or should I say they're going to be bad? Yeah, the Flyers have been probably that other team I just can't seem to get, put in the right spot. But again, they're all over the place, so why would I be able to pick that? And then another thing that I think I really struggle with is teams that don't necessarily impress and their rosters don't impress you, but boy, do they ever find a way to make it to the playoffs on a regular basis. Now, the Kings, I'm going to put them in their own little category because, again, looking at some of their analytics, I'm just like, man, I really love these numbers. Yes, they were lacking, some shooters a couple of years ago, guys that could score a lot of goals for them. But, looking at some teams like Winnipeg where they just seem to lose some pieces and get a little bit older, looking at a team like Nashville, Nashville, I just put a video out over them yesterday. And a team maybe like the Islanders, some of these teams that maybe aren't going to be the favorites to win their division, but I just seem to lean more towards, well, they're another year older. Maybe they didn't have a free agency period that really impressed me. Maybe their prospects aren't really looking that great. But I just seem to never say, oh, well, they probably are going to be in that playoff hunt. Winnipeg was a team that I was more on the ship of. Things are going to sink. They're going to lose some of their big name guys. Hellebuck's going to want out, all that stuff, and they're able to send them the big extensions. Do I see Winnipeg as a Stanley Cup champion or Stanley Cup favorite? No, I haven't seen them like that in a long time before this channel even existed. However, some of these teams continue to get results for the Islanders. When Trotz left, I said, again, this is a team that's not a perfect team. They are going to probably be in the hunt for the wild card, and they could do some things. They're in a situation where going into this year, I said, I don't think they'll make the playoffs. What do you know? They're in the playoff spot right now, and will they make it? Again, remains to be seen, and it's not necessarily where I'll get these teams super far off, but it's where I almost always tend to discredit what they're able to do, where it's a team system. Again, they aren't stars. They aren't going to go out there and have your performances like Colorado or some of these other teams that are loaded with talent or have a lot of top-end talent. They're a team that's going to go out there and get it done the old-time way, one-score games, be gritty, all that stuff. Maybe they have one line that is their offensive line. And I just got to get past that a little bit and focus on, again, the fact that they have been good in recent memory. The roster still looks relatively the same. Are they another year older? Will it be hard for them to make the playoffs? Yes, but it doesn't seem like they mind doing the dirty work to get them to the playoffs, or at least being in that conversation. So next season, for season previews, I'm going to try to open my mind a little bit and say this possibility could be there for them. I mean, Winnipeg right now, I think, is first in the Central Division. Me being on the one end where I thought all these guys were going to leave and they're going to be, having to do a full-scale rebuild to where they could possibly win the Central is crazy. So just open my mind a little bit to some of these teams and say that maybe, just maybe, they can do better than what I think they're capable of. And then finally, I feel like one thing I really got to work on for the playoffs is the fact that some of these teams that are underdogs, that are clearly not the better team, go on heaters and they end up going on deep runs, and then I'm just left picking the team that is better than them every series because they'll get outplayed in a series and they win. But I'm like, yeah, but are they going to do that a second time? Old adage, or the old phrase is, never discount a team that is hot, never discount a team that has a really good goalie. And I think that's where I got to focus in on this, because I talk about goalies a lot. Goalies are my favorite position, favorite group in the NHL and just in hockey in general, where I always talk about, a good goalie can get a team far. But it's like, as soon as it gets to the playoffs and I see the fact that they're getting outplayed, I'm just like, goalie's going to get exhausted, going to lose momentum. You've got some time off in between the series. They're done. It's over with. This team's got 4 good lines. It can score pretty well. They're good at getting penalties. They're good at scoring. They're good at killing penalties. They are a great 5-on-5 team, great coach. Again, back to the depth, all that stuff. And I just, again, seem to look past what a team did the series before, and you can't account momentum. That's one of the things I hate. You can look at these things, you can look at these numbers, you can look at these charts, you can look at these graphs, you can look at the deserve to win a meter, and there's always going to be a team, maybe not every year, but every couple of years, the Montreals or some of these teams that don't deserve to be there, or they just don't belong there. They're getting outplayed like crazy, but guess what? These guys are motivated, their goalie is playing incredibly well, and they're going to try to go out there and win the whole thing. So those are just 4 things that I feel like I've noticed that I should probably try to be better at addressing for this. Again, the Kings, I don't think I've been doing anything crazy. The Flyers, not necessarily, but just looking at some of those teams that are fringe and giving them a little bit more credit and being a little bit more positive, I guess. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this and found it kind of fun. If you are a subscriber, somebody that's watched my videos before, and then again, if you don't like me, that's no big deal, and you get to enjoy this video. So yeah, obviously happy holidays with everything going on here, and yeah, just the teams and the things that I need to work on getting better for the channel. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Like it if you found it enjoyable, and also subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, everybody, please make sure to stay safe. Have a great night. and you love hockey alright. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.